There is a moment in every title race where the games stop feeling like regular fixtures and start feeling like finals. Arsenal are at that exact moment right now, and what is standing between them and 3 crucial points on Wednesday night is not just a football team, it is a test of mentality, a test of depth, and a test of whether this Arsenal squad has truly evolved into genuine champions. The reality for the club is sharp and unmistakable. Arsenal go into the Brighton clash holding a 5-point lead at the top of the Premier League. 5 points, that sounds comfortable on paper, but any analyst who has watched football long enough knows that 5 points in a title race, with the games ticking down and opponents growing in confidence, is not a cushion. It is a warning. Every point dropped from this stage is not just a point lost. It is a lifeline handed to whoever is chasing you. And make no mistake, Brighton at the Amex Stadium is exactly the kind of fixture that can hand those lifelines away if you are not fully prepared. The situation is that Fabian Hürzeler's side are not in this match looking to survive. They are coming into Wednesday having won back-to-back Premier League games. They are energised, they have momentum, they have rediscovered their attacking rhythm, and at home in front of their own supporters, they are a completely different proposition to the side that struggled through a poor 6-game winless run just weeks ago. So before anyone talks about Arsenal simply showing up and collecting 3 points, that narrative needs to stop right now. This is not a banker, this is a battle. Let us be clear about what is truly at stake here. This is not just about 3 points in isolation. It is about what losing points to Brighton would signal to every club still fighting for the title. It is about what it would do to confidence inside the Arsenal dressing room at exactly the moment when belief needs to be at its highest. Jeremy Aliadier, a man who knows what it takes to be part of an Arsenal title-winning team, having been part of the famous Invincibles, has been direct about this. His view is plain. He says it is only Arsenal who can lose this, not the opposition, not the schedule, Arsenal themselves. If they are on it, every single game, they should beat anyone. That is the standard being set by someone who lived through one of the greatest achievements in English football history. That is the weight of this fixture. The pressure is entirely internal. Brighton do not need to be exceptional. Arsenal just need to slip up once. And right now, there are genuine questions about whether they are capable of seeing out close games with the kind of authority a champion requires. Before we go any deeper into this, if you want this level of detailed, calm and accurate analysis on every major Arsenal story, please subscribe to Melissa Arsenal A Analyst right now. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications. This channel is built for supporters who want the full picture, not just the headlines. Now let us get into it. The first thing any serious analyst needs to address when looking at this fixture is Danny Welbeck. Because Danny Welbeck is not just a storyline or a sentimental subplot about a former Arsenal player returning to face his old club. He is a genuine, clinical, in-form threat, and the evidence for that is sitting right in front of us. Welbeck has now scored 10 goals in the current Premier League season. 10 goals, he has reached double figures for the 2nd consecutive campaign. He is 35 years of age, and he is getting sharper, not slower. His most recent strike came in Brighton's 2-1 victory over Nottingham Forest, and it was his 2nd goal in as many league matches. That is the kind of form that defenders have nightmares about. A striker who is sharp, experienced, and playing with total confidence. Now, here is what makes Welbeck particularly dangerous. It is not just the goals, it is the intelligence behind them. Aliadier spoke about this directly, and it is one of the most insightful points in this entire discussion. He explained that as a footballer gets older, they begin to play more with their brain than with their legs. They know when to make an effort and when to conserve energy. They know when a run is worth making and when to wait. They know when to press and when to hold their shape. Welbeck has that knowledge now at the highest level. He has earned it through years of experience at Manchester United, at Arsenal, at Watford, and now at Brighton. He joined Brighton on a free transfer back in 2020 after his time at Watford. He had previously been at Arsenal after moving there from Manchester United in 2014. So this is a player who knows the club, knows some of the coaching staff, and will understand exactly how Arsenal like to defend. That knowledge is a weapon. Gabriel will almost certainly be tasked with managing Welbeck on Wednesday night. Gabriel was back to his commanding best in the Chelsea win, and he has the physical presence and aerial ability to deal with most strikers in the league. But Welbeck's movement, particularly his timing of runs in behind and his ability to drift into pockets of space, means Gabriel cannot afford a single lapse in concentration. One moment of uncertainty, one miscommunication with William Saliba, and Wellbeck will punish it. The situation is that Arsenal's central defensive partnership will be under real pressure, and that pressure starts with number 9 in the blue and white stripes. If the Wellbeck problem were Arsenal's only concern, you might feel relatively settled about Wednesday's result. But the situation is more complicated than that. Arsenal are heading into this fixture carrying a significant set of injury concerns, and the way Mikel Arteta manages his squad over the coming weeks could determine whether this title challenge holds together or quietly unravels. Let us go through the injury picture as it stands. Mikel Merino is out. He underwent surgery at the start of the year to resolve a foot injury and has not been available since. Merino's absence is significant because he offers something different in midfield. His ability to drive forward, arrive late into the box and combine technical quality with physical presence gives Arsenal an extra dimension that is difficult to replicate. Martin Odegaard missed the Chelsea win with a minor knee issue. His availability for the Brighton trip remains unclear. He may travel with the squad, but whether he is fit enough to start or even feature from the bench is uncertain. Odegaard's importance to Arsenal cannot be understated. He is the heartbeat of how they play. When he is on the pitch, the team's tempo, creativity and decision-making all improve. Without him, Arsenal look for someone else to carry that creative responsibility. And right now, that responsibility is falling to Eberechi Eze. Ben White is a doubt with a knock. White has been a key figure in Arsenal's defensive organisation this season, and his potential absence creates uncertainty at right-back. Christian Mosquera could fill that role, having been used there for the final 30 minutes of the North London derby. But asking a player to step into a high-pressure away fixture at a top Premier League ground is always a risk. And then there is Declan Rice. Rice had to be substituted with less than 20 minutes remaining in the Chelsea win after picking up an unknown ailment. Arteta confirmed he would be assessed ahead of the Brighton trip, but hinted at midfield rotation. The likelihood is that even if Rice has avoided a serious injury, Arteta may choose not to risk him on Wednesday. That decision would be entirely sensible from a squad management perspective, but it does remove one of Arsenal's most important players from the equation. The combination of these absences is not catastrophic. Arsenal have squad depth, but it is putting pressure on the players available to step up. And stepping up in a title race away from home against a team that is in form is a very different demand to stepping up in a routine fixture. With Rice potentially absent and Merino definitely unavailable, the midfield picture for Wednesday looks likely to involve Martin Zubimendi and Christian Norgard operating as a double pivot. Zubimendi has been a constant presence in Arsenal's midfield this season. His composure on the ball, his ability to screen the defence and his reading of the game have all been impressive. He is a player who rarely makes mistakes and who gives the team a steady platform to build from. Norgard brings a different quality. He is experienced, physical and has a strong understanding of the game's tactical demands. He has arguably been underused this season, and an opportunity to start in a crucial Premier League fixture is one he will want to take with both hands. The question is not whether Norgard can do the job. The question is whether the combination of Zubimendi and Norgard gives Arsenal enough creative dynamism in midfield to unlock Brighton's defensive structure. Brighton under Herzler are not a team that simply sits deep and defends. They press, they move the ball quickly, they create patterns of play from the back that can pull teams apart if those teams are not disciplined and alert in their pressing structure. Zubimendi and Norgard will need to manage the physical demands of a high-intensity game while also contributing to Arsenal's attacking play. That is a significant double workload. With Odegaard absent or uncertain, the number 10 position falls to Eberechi Eze. And this is where the analysis gets genuinely interesting, because Eze has shown two very different faces over Arsenal's last two Premier League fixtures. Against Tottenham Hotspur, Eze was outstanding. He dispatched two chances with clinical precision and produced an accomplished all-round display. It was exactly the kind of performance that justified the trust Arteta has placed in him. Against Chelsea, the picture was different. Eze found it difficult to influence a cagey, tight contest, who could not impose himself on the game in the way he had managed against Spurs. And that inconsistency is a concern. A title-winning team needs its creative players to show up in the hard games, not just the ones that open up naturally. Paul Merson has argued that Brighton is actually a good fixture for Eze. The reasoning makes sense. Brighton do not defend deep and compact in the way that some of Arsenal's other remaining opponents do. They engage, they play football, and that means there will be space for a technically gifted player like Eze to find the ball in dangerous areas and create problems. There is logic to that argument. If Eze can replicate his Spurs performance rather than his Chelsea performance, Arsenal's attacking threat will be significant. However, it is worth noting that Merson also pointed out Eze has not recorded a single Premier League goal contribution away from London in 11 months. That is a statistic that deserves attention. The away form of a creative player is one of the truest tests of their consistency. Home environments, familiar crowds and the comfort of known surroundings can inflate performances. Away from home, in hostile environments, the real character of a player shows itself. Avar needs to find that away form. If he is going to be the player Arsenal need him to be between now and the end of the season. Alongside Eze, Gabriel Martinelli is expected to feature on the left. Martinelli is not without flaws, but he has the ability to create something from nothing. His direct running, his willingness to take on defenders and his work rate make him a constant nuisance for opposition fullbacks. Against Brighton, there should be space behind the defensive line for Martinelli to exploit on the break. If Arsenal can soak up pressure and then transition quickly, Martinelli is exactly the kind of player who can hurt Brighton on the counter. Noni Madueke may come into the team on the right after failing to feature against Chelsea. Madueke has shown quality in his performances this season, and a recall to the starting 11 against Brighton would give Arteta a direct, attack-minded option on that side of the pitch. At striker, Kai Havertz is expected to lead the line. Havertz came off the bench against Chelsea, and Arteta will want to build his minutes back up. Havertz as a centre-forward requires service. He is not a striker who creates his own chances out of nothing consistently. He needs the team around him to be functioning well, delivering crosses and providing late runs into the box. His partnership with the midfield and the wide attackers will be key to whether Arsenal look threatening in the final third. Now, here is where the analysis has to get honest, and this is perhaps the most important section of everything discussed here. Ian Wright, one of the greatest players ever to represent Arsenal, has admitted he is nervous. He used the word nervous, and he used the word jittery to describe what he saw in Arsenal's performance against Chelsea. Not because Arsenal lost, they won, but because of how they won, because of the manner in which a Chelsea side reduced to 10 men continued to create chances and continued to test Arsenal right up until the final whistle. The pattern Wright is identifying is not new. It has been building over recent weeks. Arsenal are showing a tendency to drop deep, lose control of the tempo and invite pressure in the second half of games. Against a full-strength opposition or against a team that is confident and in form, that tendency becomes a vulnerability. And Brighton on Wednesday will be confident and in form. Wright's concern is essentially this. Chelsea had 10 men and still got at Arsenal in the second half. Brighton will have 11. If Arsenal cannot manage the closing stages of games without becoming jittery, Brighton will identify that and they will target it. Wellbeck's experience means he will know exactly when to make his run in those crucial final minutes, and a team that is already nervous will be even more susceptible to conceding in those moments. The evidence is sitting right there in the facts of the Chelsea game. Arsenal had a 2-1 lead and still had to survive a scrambled final stretch, including a Liam Delap equaliser that was correctly ruled out for offside. One moment of different luck, one slightly different angle on that Delap effort, and the conversation heading into Brighton would have been completely different. The situation is that Arsenal cannot afford to keep relying on fine margins to see out games. Champions do not just win, they control, they dominate. They make games feel settled before the tension arrives. Right now, Arsenal are not consistently doing that, and the football world has noticed what Arsenal must do. Aliadier's message to Arsenal supporters and to the team itself is worth coming back to as the final thought in this analysis. He was clear. He said, "We have got to take every opposition 100% seriously." He said, "It is only us that can lose it, to be honest." And then he said, "If we are on it every single game, we should beat anyone." That is not false confidence. That is the honest assessment of a man who has won at the highest level with this football club. Arsenal have the squad, they have the manager, they have the quality across the pitch. Zubimendi is a genuine Premier League level defensive midfielder. Saliba and Gabriel are one of the best centre-back partnerships in the country. David Raya was the difference between 3 points and drop points against Chelsea, producing crucial saves when Arsenal needed him most. The ingredients are there, but ingredients without execution are just potential, and potential does not win title races. Execution wins title races. Brighton will press high, they will create chances. Wellbeck will be dangerous, the Amex crowd will be loud. None of that is a reason to panic. All of it is a reason to be locked in, focused and ready from the first whistle to the last. Arsenal need a performance on Wednesday night that does not just deliver 3 points. They need a performance that sends a message to their rivals, to their supporters and to themselves. The message that this squad knows how to win when it matters, that they can control a game, manage the pressure and see out a result with authority rather than anxiety. Because if they can do that at the Amex against a Brighton side that is in form and full of confidence, it will do more than move them 8 points clear at the top of the table. It will confirm in the minds of everyone watching that this Arsenal team is the real deal. And that is exactly what a title-winning side looks like. That is the full analysis, every point grounded in the facts, every concern addressed honestly, every reason for confidence weighed against every reason for caution. That is what you get on this channel. If you found this analysis useful, please subscribe to Melissa Arsenal A Analyst, hit the like button, leave a comment with your thoughts on the Brighton fixture and share this video with any Arsenal supporter who wants to understand the game more deeply. Your support keeps this channel going and there is a lot more analysis coming as this title race enters its final and most critical stages. Thank you for watching.